What is happening? AJ Gamer Dude here, and we're going to be talking about the new April 2024 ban list that's going to be taking effect from April 15th in North and Latin America and April 22nd in EU, Africa, and Oceania, which is my own local region. So this is going to be a list that has some different changes to it. However, I think the impact is going to be quite big, especially when we start looking at what's been forbidden and everything. So we're going to start off with stuff that's gone unlimited up to the forbidden list. So let's just kind of jump into this update. It's been a while since we got one, and also it's about time because, you know, the people have been waiting for Konami to finally drop this list, and they finally have, to thank bloody goodness to that. Let's jump right on into it. First and foremost, we have Malicious going from 2 to 3. Malicious usually jumps between 2 and 3, and for anyone who's been around the game long enough, Malicious is kind of, it feels like that's the reason why the semi-limited list even exists. The only reason why you'd ever bring a card down to 2 copies, because of its effect, to get another copy of itself out. And the fact that you can kind of do that, and there's no hard ones per turn, so the only way to make it a hard once per turn was to limit it to only 2 copies, or put it on the semi-limited list rather, which I thought was absolutely, again, hilarious. But yeah, hero players definitely are going to rejoice. There aren't a lot of dark pile decks at the moment, it's mostly just fire, so hopefully we'll see a lot more dark cards kind of return to the meta with some of these unbannings and bannings that are going to be happening. But moving on from that, we have Orcus Harp Horror. This is kind of like the first part of the return of what I feel like might be TOS the return of TOS format, which was 2019, or was it 2018, or something along those lines. So the TOS in the O in TOS was for the Orcus archetype. Orcus Harp Horror is the searcher for the Orcus archetype, and was limited to 1 copy for only a little while, and now has gone just full on unlimited, which is good to see because it could have been brought off the ban list a lot sooner. There's no way that Orcus would have actually been able to do much in the meta anyways, because it's a fairly older archetype now at this point, released around, I don't know, 2015, 2016 to that effect. But yeah, Harp Horror, good to see it back. And this is kind of like the first step to the return of TOS format. Next we have is Speedroid Speedroid Terratop. Every time I think of Terratop, I think Takatomborg, because that is the 2-card combo to getting your rank 3 plays started. So Terratop coming from 2 to 3. I remember when Terratop was actually like really sort of terrorizing, no pun intended, for the meta and getting sort of rank 3 Xyz monsters out. Now it probably can go to unlimited and have very little to no actual effect on the meta. However, the next one also doesn't have much effect on the meta, but is also, again, the return of the TOS format to some extent. Sky Striker Mobilize Engage, going from 2 to 3. Sky Strikers only have 2 main monsters that they use, which is Rose and Ray. And then after those 2 cards, Engage is the next most important. So it's good to see that that's kind of, you know, returning to the game as is. Sky Strikers aren't really going to be doing much in the modern metagame anyways, as it is. So that's equal parts unfortunate, but also like a card that does not need to be hit anymore. At least it doesn't feel like it has to. So those were the limits. Now let's go on to the those were the unlimits. Let's go into the semi-limits with Armageddon Knight going from 1 to 2. So it's going from limited to semi-limited. And there's not a lot of really strong dark decks at the moment. So I think with Armageddon Knight, we might actually be good regarding that at the moment. Similar to Orcus coming back, and similar to what was the other card? Similar to Malicious going from 2 to 3. Armageddon Knight going from 1 to 2. I think we're good on that. Next we have is Pearly Delicious Memory going from 1 to 2. Pearly is an archetype that was neutered from the beginning, from the get-go, and it's really unfortunate to see that, because I really wanted to play a Pearly deck, because it's like a really neat idea of looking after a pet, in this case Pearly, and then kind of evolving into different forms, and also it kind of evolves into different forms similar to like an Eevee, which is what I really like. It's a Pokemon that I really, really like. So Eevee is one of my favorite Pokemon. So it kind of brings in that sort of aspect to it. So I thought it was a cool idea. Good to see that it's, you know, getting semi-limited for Pearly Delicious Memory, because that's actually the most powerful quick play spell that Pearly actually has. Moving on from that though, we have Arch Nemesis Protos going from forbidden to limited. So this is now the limit. I think they brought back Arch Nemesis Protos because the entire game is revolving around the fire attribute. So Arch Nemesis Protos effect is that you can actually select a attribute and it would actually purge the field of all cards of said attribute. So if you said fire, if you picked one of your fire monsters, like if I actually look at the effect itself, I think cannot be normal summoned or set, must be first special summoned by banishing 3 monsters with different attributes from your graveyard, cannot be destroyed by card effects. Cool. You can declare 1 monster attribute on the field, destroy all monsters on the field with that attribute, so completely raise the ground of any fire attribute monsters. Until the end of the next turn, neither player can special summon monsters with that attribute. You can only use the effect of Arch Nemesis Protos once per turn. So just pick a fire monster on the field, because Fire Kings and Snake Eyes, and then just see the whole thing just go down in smoke. And it can only be used once per turn. And it's only special summonable. But of course, I think as long as you run a deck that has multiple cards that you can fill in the graveyard that have different attributes, that should be easy enough to kind of bring out. 2500 attack, 3000 defense, pretty solid card. But yeah, it was used for its dark attribute raising before, but now I think it could quite possibly be a potential way to counter fire decks. That's what my thinking is regarding Arch Nemesis Protos, but you know, I guess that is kind of what it is. Next limit. Title going from... So this is the last of the... So Title, Dragon Ruler of Waterfalls, going from forbidden to limited. The Dragon Rulers are all back. They're all back. Title was the last one. Title is a foolish burial, effectively. I don't think there's really anything else that needs to be said. So I think it being limited to 1 should be just fine. I think that all the Dragon Rulers should eventually return to 3. It's just a matter of time before they do, at least, from my perspective. But they aren't going to be terrorizing in the meta. Title might have some use, but again, it's not a fire attribute card, whereas like Blaster can be used currently in the meta, because again, fire attribute is just ripe for use and abuse at the moment, and Arch Nemesis Protos kind of exists to counteract that, I think. But that's just kind of me theorizing off the top of my head. With that being said, the last part of TOS format coming back, because Salamangreat has kind of really been back for quite some time. So for those of you guys that don't know, TOS means Thunder Dragon, Orcust, Sky Striker, and Salamangreat. Those were the main attribute, the main cards you'd expect to see in TOS format. And so Thunder Dragon Colossus is bloody back. Thank goodness. Now, Thunder Dragons are almost kind of at full power. The only thing you can't do is the 2 Colossus negates, where you have 2 Colossuses on the field, since Colossus is only semi-limited it's limited at the moment, not semi-limited, so you can't really make too much of a use regarding that. But it's at least good to see that this was a big one coming back. I feel like this was a nice one to, you know, have back. I don't think it'll do much in the way of the actual meta itself, but it's just nice to have, honestly. I'm very happy to see Thunder Dragons coming back in some form. Oh, actually, come to think of it, what's it like in... Okay, OCG 1, TCG going to be 1, and yeah, it's only been 1 in Master Duel. Maybe I should have made a Thunder Dragon deck in Master Duel and tried that out for a bit. And going from unlimited to limited, Magispector Unicorn Kirin. This was a bizarre one for me, honestly, I think. Because the thing is that, like, pendulums haven't been around for quite some time, and just being... Oh, actually, wait, hold on. What's this effect? You can target one pendulum monster in your monster zone, and target one monster your opponent controls, return them to their hand. Okay. Cannot be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects. But can be beaten over, though. So yeah, it's just sort of like, yeah, returning cards back. So you can abuse your own effects additionally, but, you know, I don't think that'll make that big of a difference, to be completely honest, with Kidding. Moving on from that, now this one not a big one, but I'm just surprised it wasn't like let off sooner. Chicken Game, going from forbidden to limited. Unfortunately, like for Chicken Game, the only reason it got banned was because of its effect to pay 1,000 life points to draw a card, which either player can do during their turn, because it is a field spell card after all. So honestly, Chicken Game isn't gonna really do anything. And I think it is 3 in OCG and unlimited, so it's 3 in OCG and Master Duel, so no big deal there. Nothing being missed, nothing being gained. Anti-spell Fragrance going from straight 3 to 1. Okay, so they're hitting the good old the crap, I forgot what the word is called, the floodgates. They're hitting the floodgates now with Anti-spell Fragrance. So TCG is going very anti what's it called? OCG is still at 3 though. Huh, that's interesting. Yeah, no, they're going anti-floodgates at the moment. Anyway, let's go to the newly forbidden. So this is where things start to get big after this next card, which is Link Karibo, going from 3 to absolutely none at all, because you aren't going to be spamming level 1s out of your Snake Eyes decks yet. I think it might be because of many starters in the Snake Eyes deck that are level 1s, and so it's very easy to bring out Link Karibo and then abuse its effect, among other things. So I can kind of see why Link Karibo got hit with a ban. This one I am so very happy about. It doesn't affect Master Duel, unfortunately. I wish it did. But TCG, Baron de Fleur goes from 3 to nothing. Like Omni negates, once per turn, Omni negates on generic extra deck monsters have never been good, and I hate them, because why would you ever want to use anything in your archetype when you can go to the straight generic option instead? And Baron de Fleur is one of the examples of that, and I hope that this is a sign of something to come. That's what I meant by at the beginning, you know, eventually that this might be the start of something a little bit different in relation to the TCG. Though the next card as well is kind of an example of that, and that is Borreload Savage Dragon, also going from 3 to nothing. Why make a level 8 of your own deck or archetype when you can make Borreload? Why would you ever make a level 10 if you can just make Baron de Fleur? Yeah, combo heavy decks, going up in levels and things like that. Just, it's good to see that these two cards are being taken away and put to task. Unfortunately though, because Baron de Fleur is actually quite easy to get now because of the Rarity collection that released last year, or end of last year, which was an excellent product by the way, but is now currently not even usable anymore because you know, the card's getting banned at this point. And finally, the last card that is getting banned or is on the updates list is Summon Limit, going from 3 to nothing. So this very simple effect is neither player can special summon more than 2 times per turn. So it seems like, and I might be wrong about this, but my theory regarding Summon Limit is that they actually want people to summon as much as humanly possible, allowing combo decks to thrive. But then when it comes to counterplay against cards that, you know, summon way too much in a single turn, while Summon Limit is a floodgate regarding that, we also have the hand trap of Nibiru the Primal Being. So we do have some counterplay, but is it going to be enough given that Summon Limit is now banned, where you could play Summon Limit in accordance with, you know, someone summoning something at the same time? But then who knows if like your opponent is going to destroy all your face downs, because summon limit is not. If summon limit could be played from your hand, that would be bloody excellent. But unfortunately, I don't really see that being a thing, because that would be an easily bannable card if summon limit gets hit as a trap card. So I don't know about that one. I'm just thinking aloud a little bit regarding summon limit, but that's just me. I think that this is a really good ban list, specifically because Borolo, Savage Dragon, and Baron got hit. Hopefully this is something more to come with the unbanning of Thunder Dragon Colossus, and also the there was another one, I think, with the unbanning of Thunder Dragon Colossus, Tidal, and Arch Nemesis Protos. I think those were a few cool ones to get off the ban list. I think, yeah, and Armageddon I going from 1 to 2 as well. The return of Orcus Harper, pretty much the return of Tossed format, is a solid thumbs up from me. I feel like there is no Salomon Great on this list. The only downside is that there were no Snake Eyes hits, unfortunately. Or no Snake Eyes hits, which is really unfortunate. But I think beyond that, it was a really good, very solid list nonetheless. Let me know what you guys think of this list in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 200 subs by the end of the year, and with all that said and done, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.